4 men stepped onto a frozen island for what was supposed to be a short scouting trip. They carried 1 gun, 12 bullets, a little flour. By morning, their ship was gone. No rescue, no supplies, no way home. Behind them, the Arctic Ocean. Ahead of them, 6 years of survival in one of the most unforgiving places on Earth. This is not a legend. This is the true story of the men who refused to die. In 1743, a seafarer named Yeremy Okladnikov set sail from the northern town of Mezin toward Spitsbergen, a place still barely known, where ice ruled the sea and survival depended on discipline, skill, and luck. 14 hunters were aboard his vessel. They were not explorers by name, but by necessity. They came for whales and walrus, knowing the risks, yet unaware that the Arctic was already deciding who would return. After 9 days at sea, the ship reached the eastern edge of the Spitsbergen archipelago, near the region later known as the Thousand Islands. There, the ocean closed in. Ice fields shifted overnight, trapping the vessel. A storm rose. The hull groaned under pressure. A decision had to be made. 4 men were sent to a nearby island to search for a place to winter, a temporary reconnaissance, nothing more. They expected to return by morning. They carried only what seemed necessary: 1 musket, 12 shots of powder, an axe, a cooking pot, a small amount of flour, a knife, flint, and a little tobacco. On the island, they found something unexpected: an old hunting hut, built years earlier by hunters from northern Russia who had passed this way before. Its walls were rotting, its stone stove crude and smokeless, but it meant one thing: humans had survived here before. They spent the night inside. But the next day, returning to the place where the ship should have been, they were seized by a primal terror. The sea was empty. The ship was gone. No mast, no wreckage, no sign of the 10 men left behind. Most likely, the storm and shifting ice had crushed the vessel during the night, dragging it beneath the frozen sea. Whatever the cause, the result was final. The 4 men were alone. With winter approaching, they reinforced the hut using driftwood and fragments of old shipwrecks carried ashore by the ocean. From rusted nails and broken planks, they made tools. They fashioned spears to defend against polar bears, which sometimes approached the shelter, testing its walls. No one ever stepped outside alone. When the 12 shots were gone, the musket became useless. So they adapted. They built bows and arrows. They hunted reindeer, hundreds over the years, as well as Arctic foxes, and on rare occasions, polar bears. Meat was smoked inside the hut. Water came from melted ice in winter and streams in summer. Clothing wore out and was replaced with garments sewn from animal hides. Needles were made from wire, thread from dried sinew. The snowstorms were relentless. At times, the hut was buried to the roof. They exited through an opening in the ceiling, climbing out as if from a grave. Scurvy was a constant threat. To fight it, they ate Arctic plants, drank warm animal blood, and forced themselves to keep moving. This knowledge saved 3 of them. In the winter of 1748, one man, Fyodor Verigin, weakened beyond recovery, died. He was buried deep in the snow, not for ceremony, but to keep his body from the bears. His death hit his comrades hard. The Arctic had taken its due. Years passed. No ships appeared on the horizon. The eastern side of Spitsbergen was poor in game and rarely visited. Hope became something fragile, dangerous to hold. After 6 long years of isolation, on August 15, 1749, a ship finally appeared. There were no shouts. The wind would have carried them away. Instead, they lit a fire and raised a spear with reindeer skin tied to its tip, waving it like a flag. They were seen. The vessel belonged to a Russian merchant who himself had been forced east by ice. The The survivors bargained for passage home. They boarded the ship with what they had earned through years of isolation: reindeer fat, animal skins, handmade tools. On September 28, 1749, they arrived in Arkhangelsk. And still for a long time they could eat normal food. Bread felt heavy. Drinks felt strange. Their story survived not because they were heroes, but because they endured. Not through bravery, but through adaptation, cooperation, and refusal to stop. In the Arctic, that is sometimes the only victory.